Hey guys, it's Urban Legend here. Today we're going to be looking at tanking, just tanking basics. I'm going to look at some of my controls. My vehicle buttons are set to veteran, vehicle sticks are default, and I have my aim relative control off, or on, excuse me. That relates to the movement of the tank, and you'll see that in a little bit. Now my tank loadout. First off, I'm using AP shell. It's just my preferred shell, has a better trajectory than Sabo. And we're using coaxial HMG that allows me to switch back and forth, continually fire, smoke screen, thermal optics, and thermal camo. Okay, and of course my favorite camo for the tank is Phantom. It blends well on most maps. All right, now we're in the M1 Abrams. I'm going to go position myself up here. We're going to take a few shots at this test range tank. I'm going to show you a critical kill shot you should learn. It does some bonus damage. This is your smoke screen. Your smoke screen with your thermal. Using combination, they're excellent. Can hide you on the map from enemies, and just the smoke screen will take you off the mini map. It will remove your spot, and it will eliminate any critical hits that you can take. Now, first off the bat, I'm going to show you this shot, and then I'll explain it later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up square on with this tank, and I'm going to shoot right at the top of the turret, right there. So I've smoked, I've gone to thermal. This is how I typically engage a tank. That first shot right there, even though you don't know it hit him in the rear, the AP shell arcs right over the top of the tank and lands a rear shot. So it's just going to take 2 more shots to kill this tank to the side, and those shots are about 30 damage each. So probably about 110 damage in that exchange total. Now, the lav here, the lav without reactive armor is just going to take damage. I'm not actually sure if the critical shot works. I've never tried it with a lav. I know it just seems to take 3 shells anyway here on the test range. I don't actually think that first shot went to the rear. I have no way to get in and check right now. We might check that out a little later down the road, but you're primarily going to be worried about engaging other tanks. So now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to line it up at the front of the tank, and I'm going to show you how many shells it takes to kill him if you're just shooting him right in the very front. So we have 1 shot, second shot, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. Right square in the front of that tank, it's probably only doing about 23 damage, 21 to 23 damage. And that's the Type 99 MBT. Now, with the lav, you're going to see it's still just going to take 3 shots to the front. I think it's taking 30-some damage a hit. Oh, yes, this is the rear of the tank. This is your most critical kill spot. Right here, you'll get 50 damage a hit, plus a 50 mobility kill. That 50 mobility kill will leave the tank almost completely disabled, minimal turret rotation for about 5 seconds. You'll be able to see it later. I'm going to show you the basics of taking damage. See, that was just 3 shots to the front of the lav. So a lav without reactive armor is a pretty easy target for you. Now, we're going to do a few more shots here. We're going to try for that critical shot up close. And then we're going to try for another critical shot here. See, we missed one of those, and it did do a deep amount of damage because it's only going to take 3 shots. So we hit one of the criticals, we missed one. So we probably got 50 damage, and then 20 damage, and then 30 damage, which stacked up to the 100 to take the tank down. Still only a 3 shot versus a 5 shot to the front. So it's a significant increase in your effectiveness as far as placing your rounds goes. Now tank's back, and I'll show you some side shots here, I think. Oh, maybe not. We're just going to go straight to the rear. I'm going to show you how many shots it takes at the rear of a tank. Or not, I guess I'm just going to get out and run around the tank here. So this is the front, this is the sides. And so basically the sides and the rear of the tank are the places where you want to be shooting it. Alright, now we're going to line up for our rear shots. So there's one, and without reactive armor. If he has reactive armor on, it will be a little different. He probably won't take damage the first shot, but it will knock the reactive armor off. So you saw that was a 2-shot kill with that tank without reactive. So it's 50 damage, stacking twice. It's extremely fast. It's over before it began, unless he has the smoke screen that reduces the critical hit. Now we're going to go up here. This is kind of how I would position this engagement and be able to reverse real fast. We're going to try again for the 2-shot critical kill from the same spot I hit it before. So there's one. There's two. So you see those, you're shooting the front of the tank, but those 2 shells arced over. Now this will only work with the Type 9, the Type 99 MBT, the Chinese tank, and the T-90, the Russian tank. The M1 Abrams, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the larger rear end or what, won't actually take that critical shot. So if you're engaging Abrams, you're just going to have to do it through sheer damage and not through tactics. Now positioning yourself where you can see the tank, but he can see very little of you. Something like this, I take a shot, I'd probably back away. So now I force him to rotate his turret if he's engaging me, and I'm forcing him to search for me, which he can't see. I'm going to try and make the shot here and I miss it. That probably arced over the front side of the tank, so I wasn't right square on the turret. So there's that one. That's 3 shots, and you're going to see this is going to come in as a 4-shot because we had 1 to the front, 2 to the sides. I'm trying to get that rear damage, but it's not going to happen unless you get an angle on his rear plate. It's kind of like a box, just like a square box. Now we're going to come down here to the infantry range. I'm going to talk a little bit about the HMG. You can use the AP shell. The AP shell is extremely good for destroying cover and doing damage at the same time. That shot right there might have killed both infantry. It definitely would have damaged both heavily. And then a couple of shots from the heavy machine gun. See, I've got 1 in each. That would have finished them both off on that shot. And you can see how difficult it is to chase strafing infantry here. Trying to lead, trying to ensure our damage, trying to get some headshots at the same time here. And we'll move up a little bit and look at our targets and see what we've got for a spread. You see there's a few good kill shots there. Typically it'll only take 3 rounds with the HMG anyway to knock infantry down if you haven't used your AP shell. These might be some of the angles. That actually might be some of the common angles. When people are trying to run away from your tank, they'll often try to run to one side or the other. They're not going to run straight away. That would make it too easy for you to cut them down. Now we're going to come up here and we're just going to do some stationary shots and look at our groupings and where we want to aim as far as on the infantry and in relation to the orange dot up close. I'll probably just go for the chest shot. It's the widest part, and typically where you're going to see this is somebody running towards you to see for you, or maybe somebody who's poking out behind cover, sticks the upper half of their body out, and you don't have to shoot for just their head. Here again, chest shot, it's the easiest shots to make, and then I just kind of work my way up the body a little bit, and move towards the more critical shot after some damage is done. You can see you still got almost all the rounds on target. We'll back up and we'll shoot these targets here, and I'm trying to position on the Dorito, the orange Dorito. I'm gonna do a little bit of movement sometimes, especially if they're jumping around. Bunny hopping is pretty typical. So we'll go up and we'll look at the damage pattern, and down here, one guy probably ran away with 2 shots, and the other guy is definitely dead. But you can see there was a little bit of spread to the heavy machine gun. When you're standing stationary and you're on target, these shots are easy to make, but you're not always going to want to be stationary like this and just shooting at infantry, especially out here with no cover. Go up and look at the spread, and you see I've only made 1 round on the right target, and I've made 5 or 6 on the left. So again, there is a bit of spread on the HMG. You want to try and burst fire when you can. Now we're going to come down here, we're going to talk about positioning a little bit. There is a Jeep on the right here. We're going to treat this Jeep on the right as if it was a tank. I've smoked to drop my spot on the mini-map if I have one. And it looks like, so you can see which parts of my tank will be exposed here. Most likely the turret, the gun, and the very tip. the very tip of my tank here, so I step around the cover, back up, wait for my reload, move forward, constantly assessing the mini-map while I'm doing this to see if anybody's rushing me or if any other targets are moving in. And I've smoked again. That's pretty typical of me during tank engagements. Here on the test range, I'm not using my thermal, but out in the field at that range, you'll probably want to use your thermal. So I'm going to just kind of back up here, and you're going to be able to see which parts of the tank were exposed from the point of view of the target I was engaging. So right here, you can just see the tip of my tank, the very front. That's the front plate. That's all it's exposed. That's the least damage that I'm going to take, and the top of the turret. They're probably going to look for the front of the tank, and that's my 21, 23 damage spot. It's where I'm going to take the least damage, and I'll never take a mobility hit being hit there. Okay, and you can see that right now my tank's at 58%, and I'm not sure why. Now, I've made a hole here with my heavy machine gun, and I'm shooting through the hole. It's another tactic I'll use sometimes in engagements, is to find holes in the cover around me where my gun can poke through. He could actually get a side shot off if he caught me backing up, but if I've blown smoke, it won't be a mobility hit. And even if it's a side mobility hit, I should be able to limp back into heavier cover. So we'll see again from the same point of view. All you can really see is the very back corner of my tank. I've minimized all my exposure here while still being able to engage. So you can see the back side, and I'm going to shoot the top of the turret once. I'm going to shoot the front plate once, just to show you. And typically most people will be using RPGs or SMAs. You won't see a lot of guys with SRAs. So the tank's taking quite a bit of damage. It's at 1%. I think some of that's from me running away and shooting back at it. I think it was at 58% before, so we probably didn't take a whole lot of damage. On the last rundown, I think my tank bled off 42%. So, you know, we were at 1 plus 42 is 43. So we took about half health damage from those SRAs. The other thing about this cover is that it'll be very easy for an NG to rep you. Now, this is taking damage. This is the rear of the tank. This is the most critical hit. My tank's completely disabled right now, immobilized. I can move the turret, but I can't actually move forward. So I'm going to repair my tank. And we're going to take a look at this again. Here's another rear shot. I didn't actually try and move the tank. I just got in to show you the damage. Now, I'm going to get in and I'm going to immediately hit my gas. Now my tank's immobilized. I'm trying to move forward, but still completely immobilized. So I can turn to engage targets. However, it took that long for my tank to regain mobility. In that amount of time, infantry's moved into their shooting positions, or an enemy vehicle has relocated, is forcing you to just rotate your turret and not be able to move. He can take his choice of shots on you. You don't want to have that happen. So I'm going to show you how to use our smoke screen now. I'm going to turn my turret around so I've got a quick exit and a run. I'm going to use my smoke screen. I'm going to run out here and I'm going to put an SRA on the back of the tank, and you're going to see the difference that the smoke screen makes as far as reducing the damage. See, I'm at 81% and I can immediately move my tank. So we've cut that damage by about 31, 32 just by using the smoke screen, having it active when I'm getting shot at by rockets. And that's something that's going to come with experience, but it reloads relatively fast, about 15 seconds. So you can use it quite a bit, not just to dump your spot, but to reduce those critical hits and maintain your mobility, which is key. I'm going to redeploy here just so I have another set of SRAs. I'm going to rep the tank and make sure the tank hasn't taken any damage from sitting here without me in it. And it hasn't. I'm going to jump in and check my health. I'm going to get out. We're going to look at the side damage. Now this is going to be a lighter mobility hit. This is going to be your 30 mobility hit plus your 30 or so damage. We'll see when we get in. That was 32 damage, and you're not immobilized, but you're critical low power. And the whole time I've been trying to move. This is the fastest I can move, and now I've got mobility restored, full mobility. I've taken a little more damage than I would have from the front plate, but a little less, quite a bit less than I would have taken from the rear. Typically a shot in the rear is going to be as close as you're going to come to a kill shot on your tank when somebody gets you. So now, I backed up a little bit. We're going to hit smoke screen. Let me get my